Hey guys, real quick. So there will be no like movie trailer for this review because Sony was like, "Yeah, we don't want you to use the trailer for No Hard Feelings." So instead, we're gonna be using some Golf It gameplay instead. Um, but moving forward, we're still gonna be doing trailers, and once I get my setup built a bit better, we'll be kind of switching over to more live cams. But other than that, enjoy the video. Alrighty, guys, welcome back to another movie review. Today, we're going to be reviewing No Hard Feelings, the new Jennifer Lawrence film. First of all, this movie stars Jennifer Lawrence and Andrew Feldman. First of all, Andrew, how does it feel to live my dream? Anyways, so essentially, this, like I said, this is a new movie, just came out, and it's a rated R comedy about this girl named Maddie who is on the brink of losing her like childhood home, and admittedly she gets around a little bit. It's not a big deal, but it is a trait of hers. She appears to be afraid of commitment, so that's kind of the reason why, I guess. But in looking for a way to kind of like be able to get her house back, because like a main thing that happened was at the beginning her car gets towed, and her car is kind of how she gets to her job, and she also works as like an Uber driver, which helps her pay bills and stuff. But since her car is gone, it's like, oh, she can't pay anything, and if she doesn't pay by September, the bank is gonna like take her house pretty much and bulldoze it. And that's her like childhood home. It's her mom's house that she gave to her before she passed away, so it's kind of a big deal, and obviously you don't want to be homeless. So as she's looking for like cars to get, she comes across, or at least her friend does, comes across this like strange ad on Craigslist, and essentially it is a car listing, but it is also like, hey, if you like date our son and like get him out and like kind of open him up, we'll give you this car. And it's like, oh well, that's perfect. The only problem is it's like the listing is like, oh, you has to be early 20s, and she's like 32, so kind of a problem. But she decides to take a chance on it, and it works. The parents are like, okay, whatever, as long as you get him out of your shell, it's fine. And so she takes them up and finds him at his like volunteer job and rizzes him up essentially. And the whole movie is kind of about that, like them just getting to know each other. So yeah, it's a movie for sure. I really did. I'm not sure. I have so much to like say, I guess. I'm not really sure if I enjoyed this movie or not. Like, and that's like in a good way, because like I was like, I'm not sure if I liked it. Like when I like a movie, it's like, oh, I would watch this again. You know what I mean? I'm not sure if I would, but I might. Yeah, it was so weird. There was a lot of like funny like one-liners or jokes that they had. It was just like, oh, that's funny. This could get me potentially. But there was also like, it was funny. I was sitting next to these like old ladies in the theater, and they were just kind of like loudly talking during the previews, like, oh, interesting, I'm gonna see that, and they were laughing hysterically at some of the jokes. So yeah, maybe it's like an old person thing, I don't know. But yeah, there was this point at the beginning of the movie when she like first meets like him, hold on, let me, Percy is his name. There's a point when she first meets Percy and she's like trying to rizz him up, and it's like so like cringe. I don't know. It's I wasn't sure if I was cringing out of my mind or if I was trying not to laugh. I think it was a bit of both, honestly. This movie is slightly cringy, and yeah, it's not bad, right? It's a goofy little comedy. I think story wise this movie suffers a little bit. uh, a little bit. It suffers because it feels a little bit out of order. Like there are certain things where it's like you probably should have showed that earlier or moved this around or maybe not do this and it would have made it better. Like for instance, the I feel like every time her and Percy like get in a serious talk in the movie, it's just kind of out of nowhere almost. It's not like a little piece of dialogue that's like, oh, and makes the character realize, and then they have like a serious moment later. It's just like, oh, let me reveal this little bit and then just keep going about it. And that's something I didn't really like too much, because it's not like, oh, I'm not gonna like tell my life story to someone I just met, especially someone who is considerably younger or older than me, you know. But yeah, there was this scene with like she wrote a letter to her dad, and instead of like him just opening it, reading it, and never replying, it was like a return to sender type thing. He was just like, nope, not even gonna look at this. And instead of like they have a scene after she already explained it, showing that she still had it. And I kind of would have loved if they moved that scene before she kind of like talked about it, just so the audience is kind of like, what the hell is that, like I think that would have been a bit more intriguing, because then it would have been like, oh, that was the letter, oh damn, yeah, there's just a bunch of stuff in the movie that's just like, honestly, I think the best scene in the movie was when they go on that like date, like that prom date, and when they're in like the diner, and she essentially forces him to play piano in front of everyone and like sing and stuff. And it's actually a really good scene because she kind of like realizes like, oh shit, what am I doing? But it also kind of gets thrown out the window a little bit. It's just, I don't know, it was very interesting to kind of watch as it happened. I will say, this movie is a 5 out of 5 alone, just based off the fact that there's like a minute and a half of Jennifer Lawrence naked, like full frontal nudity. I'm joking. Or am I? But no, that was something that actually kind of surprised me, was that scene in particular, because I was like, oh, I didn't think she would do something like that. That's not something an actress of her caliber would really do. At least it doesn't seem like that's like, how often has that happened where it's like, oh, there's like this full frontal nudity scene for like a minute and a half, and the scene's rather quite comedic when it happens. She's like beating up these like teenagers that stole their clothes when they went skinny dipping. But it honestly surprised me. I was like, damn, okay, like, hey man, if you're comfortable with that, that's fine. I will say I did enjoy the movie somewhat. It was a little weird. Like, I feel like the build up to this could have been a bit better. I don't think they were trying to like go full on like, oh, they actually fall in love with each other, and I think that's why it seemed a little bit restrictive in the way they kind of interacted and stuff like that. Because like obviously he's going off to college and she's going to like California and stuff, so if anything they're just friends, right? But yeah, like I will reiterate, Andrew Feldman, how does it feel to live my dream? Like, oh my god, he got to like kiss Jennifer Lawrence and shit. Like, oh my god, luckiest man on the planet. Yeah, but my realistic rating for this movie would be a 3 out of 5. I honestly, going into the movie, I was expecting a 3 out of 5. The max maybe would have been a 3.5. But it never just quite hit that kind of like, this is a good scene, like good part, where it takes it to the next level. So that's really why it didn't kind of go that way for me. But would I recommend this movie? Yeah, it's a good goofy little laugh. It's also not too often that we get rated R comedies either, so it leaves a lot there, but it also leaves a lot to be desired. It's like, I feel like they could have done more with this kind of rated R type thing. I will say, outstanding performance from Jennifer Lawrence. I really do think she was the best character or actor in this film, which I guess makes sense. But no, she did a really good job. Her comedic timing was really good with some of the jokes. And to be fair, she's just like a generally funny person, in my opinion, so it kind of makes sense. But yeah, she did a good job. Everyone else also did a decent job. There were some funny moments here and there from the side characters that were like, oh, okay, you know. But yeah, so my ultimate rating for this movie is a 3 out of 5. Definitely would recommend, you know, if you guys don't mind watching, you know, like mid comedy movies, I guess. It's not like mid, you know, like a comedy movie is a comedy movie. Like I said, there's funny jokes in there. Yeah, 3 out of 5 is my rating. And I think that's going to do it for this review. Let me know what you guys think of the movie. If you have any recommendations, please leave them in the comments below. And make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all later. Peace.